Alright, guys. Welcome back to the video. We gotta talk about the whole entire San Francisco Airbnb situation. And you probably have heard a lot of stores at Airbnb and several of America. Cities are just going downhill, but nothing is worse than the Bay Area. The overall tourism is down a lot. There's no more companies here. And it used to be like a lot of the investors go to San Francisco for investment deals. But with so many companies moving their chews out, you're seeing places like Austin, Las Vegas, and Miami becoming like the tech hubs at the expense of the Bay Area. It's not just San Francisco having companies moving out. Oakland's having companies moving out. You also have this whole entire tech strip down here. Also San Jose, and they're just moving out in Massage Road. You got low real estate prices. There's a 150,000 office workers no longer coming back to work. And if you look around, there's pretty much no more construction. San Francisco's Airbnb hosts are struggling to rent out their homes, especially people in San Francisco, especially the locals, and outside investors took advantage of the pandemic's 2020 0% interest rates. I mean, you could get, like, a 15-year mortgage back then for under 3%. Which is unheard of. And a lot of people got, like, 30-year mortgages and stuff like that. So people took out insanely fat loans. Not to mention many of these loans are unfixed and they took a bunch of these loans out. And now guess what? The 30-year mortgage is going to 8% very, very soon. Considering that we could be seeing another interest rate hike this year. And guess what? There's actually a real estate company, you do call it Hostwell, manages more than 40 short-term rentals in San Francisco. His calendar says that there's almost no bookings in July-August, which are supposed to be the months where San Francisco gets the most bookings. It's a summertime. Right? Vacations. People go there for vacations. You're supposed to have a lot of investors going to San Francisco's to invest. And the summertime is where people like to go. Right? It's vacation time and you can't even rent out any units. That's crazy. But last year, the occupancy rate was 96%. Which is insanely good, which means, like, the only empty days are, like, maybe the occasional, like, Monday or the occasional, odd holiday here and there. But most of the time in San Francisco, it's very profitable to own a short-term rental. You may bank, right? The average salary for Airbnb host in San Francisco used to be almost $30,000 a year for one property. So if you own, like, 2 to 3 small properties, you're basically set for life. But now when you see people saying that they have 40 short-term rentals and most of the rentals are completely empty, that's some frightening stuff. And not to mention the biggest hotel in San Francisco, Park 55 Hotels and Resorts. This is like not a small tell, guys. I can say this is probably the biggest hotel in San Francisco. It's literally like a massive skyscraper. It's look at how big this is, right, goes from here all the way to back there. This is a asset skyscraper, and this is supposed to host up to, like, 3,000 rooms. And guess what? This building just foreclosed. They pretty much said that there's basically no tours. They can't even pay their basic necessities, like the interest rates, the mortgage, and the staff. If it's a building that went down in value, but they're renting out, like, 90% of the rooms, the owners will still be cool with it because they're generating positive income. But when, like, this massive hotel, the value goes down to, like, $300 million, they were just foreclosed on a $700 million loan. The $700 a $1 million loan is now defaulted. This building is given back to the bank and the bank doesn't even want it. And they can't even get tourist and customers hotel because nobody's coming here. And it's really sad because if you check out the statistics, right, 2019's tourism was very, very hot. 2018 was very hot as well. We also had an inflow of a lot of tourists from China. There were 500,000 Chinese tourists from the mainland that came to San Francisco that spent over $1 billion on a city each year. Now San Francisco is actually on the bottom of their list because they actually see how bad the city has deteriorated, which kinda sucks. I mean, even Los Angeles is getting more tourism from China than San Francisco. The key reason is conventional bookings are expected fall. Okay. Just everyday hotels. The bookings used to be, like, 664,000. Now it's at 427,000 and people are saying that next year is no better. The word of mouth is getting around at San Francisco. If you go there, your car is gonna be broken in. And what's worse, nothing really big is happening change it. It's just the same old every single day. So 427,000 bookings, we could be seeing it go down to maybe 1,000, even 300,000 bookings. If you look at some of the tourist hotspots in San Francisco, like Fishman's Wharf, North San Francisco, pretty empty. Like, if you compare the footage of the walking tours on YouTube, fishermen were from, 2016, 2019, to 2023. It's a massive difference. The amount of foot traffic really decreased by 70%. And it's only gonna get worse in my opinion. And you also have some of the biggest construction projects like the One Oak reportedly gone into foreclosure, and the 40 stores Sky Street Grill will probably not be built. And it's not just One Oak, Case Point is also canceling. This is another massive skyscraper here. And we're going to be seeing more and more of these massive towers and construction projects being completely deleted from the scene. And you also have just 3% of San Francisco restaurants have not experienced vandalism or property crime. This is wild, man. I mean, when I open a restaurant in a city for 30 days, the chances of my property getting graffiti or, somebody smashed my windows is like a 97% chance. Kinda see why so many restaurants are now moving out. And 3% of San Francisco restaurants have not experienced vandalism in the past just 30 days, not even a year, just 30 days. This is a lot of restaurants. This is why so many restaurants, if you go to, Nob Hill, the Civic Center, and especially the Mission where all the good restaurants are in San Francisco, this hipster paradise, many of these restaurants and bars are closing. There was even an article from Eater.com, which shows you all the restaurants being closed on one of the most popular streets on the Mission for restaurants, and restaurants are closing in waves and waves. And it's very hard as a restaurant owner to do anything. Right? You can't really call the seat because if they won't do anything, 911 is slow, they can't really do anything. You also have a massive shortage of police officers in the city. Just not great stuff at all for San Francisco. And like I said before, with more and more construction projects canceling, you also have scenes like this every single day, which basically is a massive turnoff for any sort of tourism. And you may think, this is only restricted to certain areas in San Francisco. Not really. This be spreading. It used to be in the centralized district. Now this is very common in places like Nob Hill, the Civic Center, etc. You also have blatant robberies everywhere. It's a very common thing. Right? I mean, at this point, you even have people robbing and shoplifting at CBS at Walgreens. They don't even wear ski masks because they're so confident. And this is gonna happen more and more. Right? And I guarantee you the luggage's fur is from tourists. And the tourists are not happy to come out and see all their car windows being broken in. There's even videos of whole entire streets of cars having the windows broken in. Some people are just breaking windows of cars for no reason. Not even to rob stuff, but you also have a lot of people who are mentally ill and stuff. Student all sort of things. And, yes, Samsung police is cracking out retail theft. By the way, this is more like a one-trick pony. The chances of them really clean up the crime is gonna be very, very difficult, but when you get, the Safeway being completely locked up for everything, everyday basic goods is crazy. So many Walgreens and CVS's are closing. Whole Foods have closed. Old Navy is gone, and a bunch of tech companies are moving out. And it's not great. San Francisco Airbnb host also took out massive loans at very, very high interest rate now. That's mentioned. Lobbies guys only paid 5%, even 10% down. And, with rates this high, we're seeing foreclosures off the roof.